A equals B, right? Do you think that it is acceptable for this person to live their life by just that logic and not learn outside of it? I couldn't hear. I don't know if I was in the matrix. Am I in the matrix? People.
Okay, everybody, this is Chill Waste Super Stupid Hypnosis.
Yeah, my bad. I can't.
I think I blanked out or something.
Oh yeah, we can hear you now, bro. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's fine. They can have that belief as a fundamental feature and then acquire new knowledge, right? I don't see an issue with that. Like I think the response is the issue.
No. But the thing is, like, you're okay with like person not updating their beliefs and just like living off of just like the things they were taught, and it could be flawed, but we just don't know. Like they don't. You're saying that it's okay to not even explore other logics.
No, I said. Wait. Look, number one, like this, like let's say P implies Q is like my foundational belief. That's fine, right? And I can acquire other beliefs, right, that are like, kind of instantiated by that fact. Nevertheless, right, like I still acquire new knowledge. This seems weird that you would say that. The second point is like, if you want to make your identity around it, it's fine. I think the issue or the normativity comes around with how you actually respond, right? If you respond hypersexually, right, that might be an issue. But if you respond by like being more conservative or something, most people would say that's like, a fine response to trauma, right? Like it's not it actually needs to be the response itself, not just like the kind of act of building your identity around certain features. That's the issue.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think you received what I said. I tried to like explain what concrete said in a different way, but yeah, it's
chaos. It just boils down to different
Are you in the matrix too? Like, is my
No, it's all you, Chaos. We can hear perfectly, Chaos. It's all you. Is my mic working? Anyway, when we say... Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Yeah, you guys talk over concrete because we didn't hear nothing. All right, so Chaos, what I think is happening with AWOL is that it's just a set of beliefs or principles, and we're conservative. So when we ask the question, would you want to live your life based on sexual trauma, such as you are like a sexual being, maybe get into sex work, your OnlyFans? Obviously, if we're conservative, that's a negative, right? But
parents don't know everything. It's on-the-job training. And I'm saying that as a married man, I'm saying it as a godfather, I'm saying it as an uncle. All this is on-the-job training. It is not a book on earth that tells you on this day.
Instead of seeing the truth, correct? That was your statement.
Yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about.
You just mentioned the Matrix, didn't you? The guy that ate the steak, he wanted to get back in the Matrix after he seen the real.
Oh, that's what you meant by steak? I had missed you when you were saying that.
I understand why.
But did I choose to do it?
I didn't ask that.
No, that's what I'm asking you.
Why are you asking a question? What's the question?
Well, I didn't understand your question.
No, I
and then you said, well, I know why. So
I clarified it.
What do you mean? So that means I understand it now or something?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how am I not responding to it if I understand it?
Oh, so you don't?
Yeah, I don't. I still don't understand what.
That's okay.
What we even talking about?
I understand why you don't.
I'm with you. Cool. Now, the question that I was asking to you is that a choice that I'm making, or is it, in a sense, just me growing up?
That's what you decide on me.
Well, I'm sure what it is. I kind of already explained what it was, what I was doing. I'm just growing. So things that are, in a sense, not relative to me, like it's like getting ignored. Like there's cars that's going behind my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even conscious of them.
So who was that person you quoted in the Matrix?
Cypher.
Can you give him the same thing you gave him? He realized the truth behind it and wanted to go back in to Matrix. Why?
Because he liked it. Because it's not about what's real; it's about what you like.
So he didn't want to recognize the real. He didn't want to be in the real. He wanted to be in a fake.
Well, it had nothing to do with the real or the fake. It
That's what I'm saying to you. No,
Did he know that steak didn't taste good? Did he believe the steak tastes good, but he knew it was fake? Just like the person said in the chat.
God slow to anger. So the takeaway, it says that there was always a pastoral statement, even when the Israelites sinned catastrophically, but Moses' intercession and God's mercy led to covenant renewal. Even those who were cut off, whether literally or spiritually, could be restored if they or their leaders sought forgiveness.
Can you repeat that again? Those who were cut off, whether
It says, even those who were cut off, whether literally or spiritually,
literally referring to physical, as I said. So what
or spiritually could be restored if they or their leaders sought forgiveness.
So everything you read is exactly. Hold on a second, because so that you get a good idea. Everything she said is exactly identical to what I said, except for two things. One, it opened up the door for another thing that is an excommunication by God Himself, which I didn't mention. However, that's a
That
thing.
is what Matt was saying.
Yeah, correct. But that's irrelevant to us because it's not God, But that's more relevant. But for the sake of the argument, there is that also. One thing I said that this, because otherwise this said everything I said for the most part. One thing I said that it didn't is the fact that physical cutting off is excommunication, since the Torah is no longer binding after your death. So therefore, it is excommunication, whether you like it or not. And the argument is about excommunication. And I'm saying there's two. Okay. There's physical and spiritual. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Fine. So your original assertion, if you want to try to twist the definition
I'm not
of the
twisting
word,
anything.
would be, and doing like a BHI definition of excommunication.
I'm not doing that either.
That's because I addressed what Kare says, and I addressed why it's not doesn't help Randy.
Claims.
So your original argument was that this form of excommunication is becoming no longer binding under the covenant. Now, yes, when somebody dies, they can no longer keep the Torah, and a wife becomes permissible to others because they're no longer married. That's all earthly things, but that person's soul is still under the covenant, and they still get judged under the covenant. So that's not cut off in the same way you're talking about, to say that you have a proto idea of you're no longer Jewish, which was the claim multiple times, if you no longer believe. So this idea that you get punished and killed has nothing to do with becoming no longer under the covenant. Now, the closest one you pull, the fact that the Jews sinned with the golden calf and got forgiven, is completely irrelevant to that fact. The only thing that's close to it is with karet, or what I pronounce as kares. Kares does translate as cut off, but that person is individually cut off. Their children are still under the covenant. They are still under the covenant. If they commit another crime, they get punished for the second crime. They don't get to take themselves out of the covenant and start having the rules like a Gentile because they no longer kept the rules. It means their soul is cut off. They die young. They die childless. But their children are still Jewish.
Okay,
This idea of becoming un-Jewish does not exist.
Okay, so can we take them one by one?
Hold on. Stop there. So everything you said, Meyer, okay, so could you apply this to the new covenant, who is Jesus? And therefore, according to, not according to you, because according to you don't see the Messiah, but according to us, Christians,
but I never claimed
that these would be the exact same punishment.
I never claimed that they're not under the covenant, though. Before we jump to that, which is a separate discussion, can we address how he accused me of saying that they're no longer under the covenant when I never said that?
I gotta go already.
Yeah, but I never said they're not under the. I know you have to leave. Yeah, you don't want to argue it, but I never said they're not under the covenant.
No, I'm just bored of your filibuster.
Okay, but when did I say that they're not under the covenant? When did I say
this
that?
entire conversation started with you claiming with exactly where he said. Okay, so then that's the only place I'm going, because that's.
You do know that goes against my beliefs, right? You do know that my
this is when we started talking with Tommy.
But I never. Okay, but I never said that.
Okay,
you're fighting with yourself.
Great.
I believe that the only way you can no longer be under the old covenant is with the new covenant, as the prophet Jeremiah said. I never said you're no longer under the old covenant if you're excommunicated. I never made that statement.
Great.
You're fighting with yourself, as always.
So then you're breaking a proof that's not proof. This entire conversation, you bring a proof, and I show you it's not a proof. You tell me, well,
this entire conversation we're making claims, not justifications.
Right. I brought justification to everything I said. You failed.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
What about
So to answer your question, we can go to that next. You never brought. I don't know which.
Of course I brought. I've been saying it for a million hours now.
I don't know which incident you're talking about.
She mentioned a lot of them. For example, the lepers. Now you said something I agree with.
The lepers are irrelevant.
Can I argue your last statement? Can I argue your last statement? Because I agree with what you said last statement. I agree.
Sure.
I agree with that if they're excommunicated, doesn't mean they go live like a goy. However, they would if they're kicked out of the camp, and if they go and live like a goy. However,
no,
they're not
incorrect.
My only disagreement, yes, it is correct. So
somebody can live like a goy for their entire life, repent on the last day of their life, and they will not have to go through the conversion process. They never become a goy. There is no mechanism of somebody.
Oh,
right.
That's
so they can live.
Why do you think that you have to? I never made the claim that you have to.
Okay, so because someone can get excommunicated rabbinically, they can get leprosy, they can get cursed, any one of those things. They never leave the covenant. So
I never said they leave the covenant.
Okay, good.
So then we don't.
Good. So then we don't disagree. So now
I never said they are no longer bound by the covenant, dude.
Great.
I'm the one who told you only by death you are no longer bound by the covenant. I never said
You're
that.
Still bound by the covenant. You just don't have the earthly rules. You're still under the covenant.
You'll be judged by the covenant, but that doesn't mean
so you're still under. Fine. However we want to parse the
okay,
words.
You're arguing with me. Can you argue with me and not with yourself?
No, I want to. Okay, so then you have amended all your statements to fit mine.
I never made that statement.
Cool. So
it goes against my beliefs.
Good.
So it's foolish of you to claim that that's the claim I made.
You so far said this 5 times, and I said good.
I never said they're not under the covenant, dude. This room hurt me, man.
Good. So then there's nothing to argue. Good. Why
no, there's a lot to argue.
Oh my God.
There's a lot to argue.
So Isa, to answer your question, wow, it's insufferable.
It is insufferable.
Your claim is that we don't have an argument, so why don't you shut up?
Yourselves. You're not God.
Wow. Okay, cool. So we don't disagree.
No, we do disagree.
Wow. Oh my God.
We disagree, okay?
No, we do disagree. He doesn't believe in
Isa, this is really, now you know why I call him a retard.
He doesn't. Well, you're retarded because you don't know your Torah, respectfully. He claims that excommunication is a thing because you don't have to be converted. But what if I tell you that when the Catholics get excommunicated, they don't get rebaptized? So why do you think that it must be that they have to reconvert for them to be excommunicated? What makes you think that? Did I ever make that statement?
I don't care. The question right now that I'm trying to
respond to is
what is the question you're trying to?
Wow. So far, anything you quoted from the Torah you got wrong and I got right.
That's a claim. Beautiful claim, like a Muslim.
Do you realize that now Meyer starts calling it the Torah as well?
Yeah, but that's
I never once in my life said Torah. I don't know about Torah.
I thought I heard you say Torah.
I said Torah. I said Torah like the way it's pronounced. I don't have toys. I don't have toys in my life, but you can call it the Torah. Torah is improper, not the proper. It's proper.
Okay, sorry.
Torah.
Here, I just thought that I heard you say
Torah is for retards. It's a mark that you know the guy's a retard.
I agree.
Oh, that means you're calling all the Ashkenazis retards. Beautiful.
No, Ashkenazim never say toy.
They say toy.
No, they say Torah. They never say toy. No one has toys. You play with toys.
Wait, I never said toy. Again, he is obsessed with mischaracter. I never said toy. I say Torah.
No,
I never said toy.
No, you mock it by saying Torah.
I would never mock the Torah. I believe in it. Unlike these fools, I actually believe in it.
You just said Torah again. He has toys. So go play with your toys while the adults speak.
Well, I go play with my balls instead of actually playing with my words.
So the entirety of this conversation and your question is, can you make an analogous to Jesus fulfilling the law and abolishing them? And the answer is no, because all the terms of this excommunication were, if you don't follow the rules, your soul gets cut off. Not that you can.
Yeah, but the point, Meyer, is that according to the Christians,
he is assuming that Jesus abolished. You see how he doesn't know anything.
That you're rejecting the Messiah, because we believe that
but did you hear what Jesus said?
So according to the Messiah, you are, let's say, excommunicated until you come back to the Father.
Isabel, did you hear what he just said? He said he just came to fulfill and then abolish the Torah. He literally said that. That shows you that he has no clue what he's talking about.
I'm waiting for this idiot to shut up. So you can't.
Well, I'm the idiot because you don't know your Torah. Yeah.
That's not Torah. That's Kfira. That's Kfira, not Torah.
Well, the Mikra. How about you read the Mikra?
Again,
What
every
is the
time we
Mikra?
went to the print.
It doesn't matter. If you think what Jesus literally said, I don't come to abolish, I come to fulfill. Yet now you're saying he abolished. So based on what?
Mikra is Tanakh. He gets everything wrong. Mikra is Tanakh.
I literally said that.
No, you said it's a Talmud.
I said
So what's misunderstanding?
he's obsessed with like imagining what I say.
Okay,
Instead of
please,
arguing with me.
misunderstanding.
Are you willing to reconcile with the fact that you just said that Jesus abolished the Torah when Jesus himself said, I don't come to abolish?
No, because you cut it off.
Jesus cannot abolish Torah. He gave us that.
Exactly, which proves that our belief is that it is eternal.
Okay. So
then why are you claiming that they're no longer, that I'm saying that they're no longer under the covenant?
Because I didn't, but I talk to you anymore.
But you did say that I said that they're not under the covenant.
Randy, stop talking.
Shh.
How about you stop misrepresenting me throughout, dude? Like, talking to you is like talking to a fucking wall, which like keeps misrepresenting. You have the memory of the fish, or you are super disingenuous. It's either or.
Okay, so Isa, the answer to you is, if you want to make the claim that by not accepting the Messiah, you're cut off in the same way, that means that your soul will be cut off, you will die childless. You can try to make that claim. You're going to fail on multiple levels, but you can make that claim. But the claim that I'm refuting is there's no mechanism to say that somebody is no longer a part of the tribe or part of the covenant. So the claim I'm saying is when Jesus says, I fulfilled it, therefore you no longer have to follow in the rules.
No one said that.
No, he didn't say to follow the rules.
Jesus didn't say, again, you keep misinterpreting. So now he's twisting.
Okay, but hold on, let him finish.
He's not twisting my words.
But it's correct because he didn't say not to follow the rules.
But this guy doesn't come.
Okay. According to you, if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, do you have to follow the Levitical covenant?
We are not bound by the Torah.
I'm not talking to you, idiot. Shut up.
But she doesn't know basic theology, fucking faggot. How about you talk to me?
Because you're insufferable. You filibuster.
Yeah, I am insufferable because I know your Torah more than you. I know.
You can,
Okay.
that's a claim.
No, I can demonstrate it. Let's go.
David, we went through this step by step, and you're wrong every single time. You want to be wrong
That's
again?
beautiful.
Let's not be this sensitive, Randy.
It's so retarded.
It's like any fact spinning on.
You keep twisting my words, and now he's twisting
all
Jesus'
the
words.
facts
Now, yet I can show you the verse where Jesus said, I come to
You mean the
fulfill,
verse that
not to abolish. Therefore, our belief that it is not an abolishment. Whether you believe it is or not is a separate story. But if I don't believe it's an abolishment, then why do you think that I am claiming that they are no longer under the covenant?
Do you not need to?
Are you willing to go back on that statement?
Under the law.
Are you willing to go back on that statement, at least?
Randy, don't use the mic, please.
What I am willing to do is explain to you that I showed you why it's not analogous. It's not analogous because you might say I'm here to fulfill, not to abolish, but by then claiming that you're no longer under Mosaic law.
But I didn't continue that.
No, we didn't say that it's not under Mosaic law.
I never said that.
Do you or do you not claim
I
that a Christian today? No. Do you or do you not claim that a Christian today does not have to follow the Mosaic law?
No.
Can I tell you why?
No, you cannot. Because you cut me off. Because you cut me
off. So I'll buy you Nike shoes because you've been. Oh, actually, Puma is better for running because you've been running away from the truth since day one. I'll buy you Nike shoes, right, and Puma shoes. You can choose which one you want.
You've been filibustering since the beginning. So
no, you've been actually doing straw man, and you've been actually mischaracterizing every statement I made, and you've been claiming that I'm going against my own confessions when I believe that you're not under the covenant no more.
Okay, I am.
We're not bound by the Torah because the Torah is only binding for you. I told you why, because when you die, you're no longer bound by the Torah, and through baptism, we are just to the law.
Thing to say. One of the most retarded things you said.
You can make that claim, but in the end of the day, when you die, someone can marry your wife. That's the truth.
But what do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean?
That's not irrelevant.
Bound by the Torah?
It's not irrelevant.
because when you die, you're free from the Torah, and the whole reason why we have only through the new covenant you may be freed from the old covenant, and that's why Jeremiah speaks of it. That's why all the prophets.
That's like saying when the
But that's what we believe, Mother, because we have the new covenant, and that is right. Like through the new covenant,
No,
we are
that's
free
not what I'm
from the old
responding to.
covenant.
Correct, but you want to use that as an analogous to courage, to leprosy, to
No, we're not.
Oh my God! You just wasted 2 hours of my life.
No, there's no you wasted your time by just presenting what we're saying.
There is a misunderstanding because the whole thing about the chorus story was not to make it relevant to the new covenant. It's just to show that there is excommunication or that there is punishment from God when you choose to go against his rules or against his
that.
That is what happened with Moses. That is what is happening or what could happen according to the Christians if you reject Jesus as the Messiah. Now, I understand that you guys.
Also, everything we have is from the old.
I know, but I understand that you guys don't see it like that because you're still living under your old covenant. But you're not accepting the new one, which is Jesus, which is the Messiah. Which according to us Christians, you for us are excommunicated because you are living outside of the law.
Until what, Isabel? They're excommunicated up until they repent. Therefore,
okay, yeah. Until they repent and until they accept Jesus as God. They accept the new covenant.
So that goes against his claim.
But hold on. But so in the end, we need to see here two timelines. They don't believe in the new covenant. They don't believe in the Messiah and Jesus is the Messiah. And therefore, they do not believe that what these things that we're saying are completely relevant because they're still living under the old covenant.
No, that's just a deflection because it is relevant.
Fine,
how about you go to Jeremiah? How about you go to Jeremiah chapter 31?
Yes, Randy, yes. But under their reasoning, they're still waiting for the Messiah. So this makes sense to us Christians because we have the new covenant. And you're right, for the new covenant.
The prophet Daniel tells you that that's not the case. Again, look, if you have a tradition that counters their scriptures, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Now, my issue here is
you can't read.
You can have whatever belief you want to have, but please, for the love of God, if you actually love Him, I'm not even gonna say you down, okay? But for the love of God, just don't misrepresent my words. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't put words in my mouth. That's what you do. Just don't put words in my mouth, please.
Nobody's putting words in your mouth.
And don't twist the words of Jesus, please.
Okay, so Randy, for the last thing, because you're gonna dance away from this one too. Why are you not under the Mosaic law?
We're not under the Mosaic law because we are dead to the law of sin through baptism. With baptism, we die with Christ on the cross, and we are reborn with Him. And hence, can I continue the answer?
No.
Why do you ask the
question?
No, but this is important, Meyer, because this is the reason why we are not under Mosaic law. This is what Christians believe.
It's been a struggle since the beginning that you ask the question and you don't want the answer.
No, I heard the answer. I don't want you filibustering.
No, you didn't hear the answer. I was in the
No, it's not filibustering. This is exactly what we believe.
My answer.
Okay, it only takes 5 seconds.
No, it doesn't take 5 seconds to tell you what you've been missing out on for not reading your Torah.
Okay.
It doesn't take 5 seconds.
No, this is not. Don't go there, Randy. For fuck's sake, you don't make it.
Okay, then why do you ask questions? Don't ask a question. Then don't ask a question.
Because I was going to get to the next step.
No. You can't get to the next step without doing the first step.
Okay, so finish the step. You bore the hell out of me. This is your.
I'm sorry that Torah.
Okay, but
This is not Torah. This is not Torah. This is
Torah. Of course, this is Torah.
Meyer.
Of course, this is Torah.
Meyer, you asked him why are we not bound by Moses' law or whatever. So he's explaining you why we the Christians are not. Continue.
Correct. I'm answering your question because I'm assuming you want an answer when you ask something. Maybe I'm wrong, but I will.
Okay, go on. Just say it.
So, because we are dead to the law of sin through baptism. Through baptism, we die with Christ on the cross, and we are reborn in the newness of the Spirit rather than in the flesh, which is why you get the term reborn. By Protestants who don't even know what that means. So, it is no longer I who lives, but rather it is Christ who dwells in me. And the Christian life is supposed to be the perfect life. Therefore, if Christ fulfilled the law, I too shall fulfill it if I walk in His shoes. Therefore, it is irrelevant to me. the law is about sin. Those who don't sin don't see any relevance in it. Do you now understand why the Torah?
But after baptism, with baptism we're cleared from it. But after that, we still are to follow the law.
With baptism, you are dead. The old man is dead, and the new man is reborn. Not according to the flesh that is sin, but rather spirit. So it is no longer I, but Christ who dwells in me. Therefore, if Christ who dwells in me, if it is Christ who dwells in me, I would walk in his shoes. If Christ fulfilled the Torah, what does it mean to fulfill the Torah? He committed no sin. Therefore, if I lead in that example, then I also shall not know sin. Therefore, the law of sin, that is Torah, is irrelevant to me. I'm not bound by it. I'm not judged.
So we're not supposed to follow the commandments?
So you're completely misunderstanding what it means that we are set free from the Torah. Completely misunderstanding it.
Yeah, I understand. I don't understand it.
Because if Christ committed no sin, hence he fulfilled it. When we say words have meanings. He fulfilled it in that he committed no sin. He's the only one who committed no sin. The Torah is impossible to actually fulfill. Yet he did it. That's what the Messiah does, because the Messiah is God. We can go see that elsewhere. We can get to that if these guys.
Yeah, but I just want to know that if that's.
Okay, well, I'm trying to explain to you. Okay, so with baptism we die. You die. You're born as Isabel. Now you're dead through baptism. Then it is no longer I, but Christ who dwells in me. Exactly the words of St. Paul. Very clearly. Romans chapter 7 is a very beautiful example if you guys want to learn more about that specific point.
No, I just wanted to the response to Meyer's comment about.
Meyer ran away because he can't argue with us. So the rest of them would run away also. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. But that's what it means. Because the law of the Torah tells you what is sinful. I don't know that covetousness is bad if it didn't tell me thou shalt not covet. Therefore, the law is there to tell you what is sinful and what isn't. Okay, but that is irrelevant to me if I live the Christian life. Therefore, I'm not bound by the Torah. The Torah is only bound to you when you live in the flesh. Do you understand?
But we're living in the flesh.
Correct. So that's why St. Paul says, "O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me?"
So we're still bound by the Moses laws then.
If you live by the Torah, you'll be judged by it. Exactly. If you live by the Torah, you'll be judged by it. Don't live by the Torah. That's what it means. So, no, we're actually much more in line with actual Judaism than the so-called Jews who don't even do basic Torah.
Yeah, I really don't understand any of this, to be honest. I'm sorry.
What don't you understand?
No. I mean, like what you're saying about like living by the Torah, will be judged by the Torah. I mean,
if you live by the Torah,
we still have God, the Bible. We live by it. We follow the rules. The 10 Commandments are part of our doctrine. So I don't understand what it means not living by the Torah. Because
it's the same. The Torah, the laws are not abolished. The laws will be written on their heart, according to the prophet Jeremiah, which the Jews don't seem to care about.
Oh my God, why do you always have to?
I'm telling you what it is. Before Moses, the laws were written on their hearts, like Abraham. After Moses came the Torah, because these guys need to be disciplined.
These guys are also you.
After the Messiah, if you can go ahead and check it, Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 through 34 tells you very clearly that there's a new covenant, unlike that old one, where those will be my people, because what's his name doesn't want to reconcile with the fact that yes, there is excommunication. Before I go to that, and it tells you that those will be my people, and the law shall be written on their hearts, just like it was in the old. Therefore, the Torah will no longer be binding. This is something they've known. Now, the modern Jew doesn't know it because he doesn't read Mikra. Totally fine. That's a you problem, not a me problem. I believe in the Old Testament.
I don't think that's the case with Meyer, dude.
It is the case with Meyer.
No.
He reads from the Talmud. He doesn't read. Fine.
No, that's not true.
Then go ahead. All he does is ad hominems. Why? Because
you are doing ad hominems.
When I tell you you're a faggot for not understanding this, and that, that's not an ad hominem like I'm arguing your person rather than your argument. Like, what he's doing is he's making claims. Oh, that's irrelevant. But I'm telling you how it's not. So then you repeat that it's irrelevant. Tell me how it is relevant. Tell me how it is relevant instead of telling me it's irrelevant. Tell me how it's dumb instead of telling me it's dumb. I'm more than willing to destroy your entire existence. I'm able to do it. I can do it without even opening up the Bible. Okay? So, like, let's get real here. Jeremiah chapter 31 talks about the new covenant. You're more than welcome to read it. Hosea chapter 1 tells you exactly how you will no longer be my people and I'm not your God. But those who were told they're not my people, those will be called the children of the living God. Okay, reconcile with your prophet instead of actually, before reconciling with these nuts. How about that? Go read your own books and then we can talk. Is that good? But if you're interested in this, read Romans chapter 7 as well. You'll understand why is it that the Torah is in fact binding until you live, but until you die. Marriage is a beautiful example. Now, with the Torah, which is holy and good, and unlike those schmucks, I actually believe in it. But the Torah is holy and good. However, it makes sin exceedingly sinful. So the devil uses what is holy in order to cause you to fall. Why is that? Because the Torah tells you shall not fuck an animal. Now, because I see that, some people have the idea to actually go ahead and do it. But at the same time, before the Torah, your sin was a sin of ignorance. After the Torah, your sin is a sin of rebellion. So it made sin exceedingly sinful. Okay? So, but being dead to the Torah means that it's no longer binding on me since I should not know sin. If you follow Christ, who fulfilled the Torah, aka did not commit sin, do you understand?
So why do we have even then still the Old Testament? Why don't we keep just to the New Testament? Then we would be
because the only reason I believe in the New Testament is because of the Old Testament. Because I actually read it, unlike these guys.
Why are you always trying to throw jabs? This is the reason why you piss off everyone.
It's just difficult to respect these people.
No, it's not these people, and it's like, I mean, you cannot
talking about
speak.
commandments.
You cannot speak for what they believe. You cannot speak for what they read or not read. And
yes, I can actually. I can. Yes, I can. I know the Torah and the Talmud more than they do.
Yeah, but why? How can you say that they don't?
Because I know what's binding on them and what isn't. And I know the inconsistencies within them.
This is what makes it so frustrating because I am looking, for example, to really understand these things, and to me, it's very rich, to listen to both of you, both of your points of views from different religions, because you're referring to the exact same text, and it's just so frustrating that you start with the name calling and the interruptions.
Well, let me tell you this: if you think that that's rare, some people delight in debt. Some people have like mansions, but they're like on credit, and if you delight in that richness, that means you're a very poor woman. Because he has nothing to offer other than claims. Again, I'm not in that.
Not according to you, not according to me.
Well, according to the objective truth, because I can tell you exactly what I can tell you the what, the why, the how. You will never hear me talk about anything without telling you the what, the why, and the how. Now, these schmucks, they can only say the what. And let's talk about commandments. The hardest commandment is to love thy enemy, which they don't have. Okay?
Do you love them? Because it doesn't seem like you love them.
I'm telling you, it is such a hard commandment. Let me tell you that. It is a truly, truly super tough commandment.
Then speak for yourself. You don't know what it's in their hearts.
I know what's in their hearts and what's on their foreheads. I know all of it.
Hi, Randy. Okay, we can.
I know all of it. No,
I'm exhausted.
Hey, not all your fingers are the same, okay? Not all your fingers are the same, but this thing, let's argue not people. Let's argue things. See, that's the difference. I'm not going to call them schmucks as an argument. The argument is, it can be found in your Mikra. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 through 34. Write it down, please. Hosea chapter 1 in its entirety. Read it. And the beginning of verse 2, chapter 2, how about that? That's also interesting. These two alone tell you a lot. Okay, you reconcile with them. Reconcile with it. That's all.
Okay, Randy, let me go back to the room. Let's see who is still in the room.
Yeah.
There's still some people here. I'm surprised actually. I thought that you had won by exhaustion, dude.
No, I won by fact. I don't win. Anyways, it's God who wins in the end of the day. I don't gain anything by telling you the truth.
You see, for example, with Matt, you could have a good conversation with him.
I know,
With
Matt.
Zach, we're talking about, and he's a rabbi.
He's a rabbi in my ballsack. He's a reformed. What are you talking about? Are you for real? He's not even a Jew.
Oh my God, Randy, stop.
Hey, it's the truth. I'm sorry. I go by Moses. I don't go by what some Yiddish guy says. I go by
Stop. Nobody is even answering to you anymore. You
that's
for everyone.
That's fine. I'm just telling you my perspective on things. I go by the Torah. I don't care what the Jew says. I go by Moses. Why is that so complicated?
Oh, he's responding in the chat. Oh, I didn't realize he's talking in the chat.
Okay, he says take Moses' name out of your lima. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful claim. How did I lie? What, why, how? Go ahead, dude. Go ahead. Otherwise, excuse me while I call you a faggot.
You don't seem to believe. He's ignoring Deuteronomy 13:1. You don't seem to believe in the Tanakh. You see, you keep trying to check it.
Let's go step by step. Let's go step by step. I got time for this faggot. Let's go step by step. Deuteronomy
13:1.
13:1. Let's check what I am ignoring. If there rises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign of wonder, that's all it says. So that's not what I'm ignoring. Let's continue to see what that says, because maybe that's what he's referring to. And the sign or the wonder comes to pass, of which he spoke to you, saying, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them. Okay, so what you're saying is basically you're claiming that I am telling you to serve other gods. Indeed, I am, because you don't really follow God. You're in an eternal state of rebellion against God, according to your prophets. Come reconcile with that. Talking about Hosea 1, which we just mentioned, he even equated you to a whore.
He says to read the earlier verse, because we number it differently.
Earlier verse what? Give me which Bible? Okay, so can you put a link?
So instead of Deuteronomy 13:1, I guess read, 12, something.
Okay, how about you tell us the verse since you know it so well?
Because we number it differently, he says.
Okay, so how about he tells us the verse? Like, say, just because I don't really memorize.
Be careful to observe only that which I enjoy upon you, neither add it nor take away from it. He's on a plane.
Is that the verse that he's trying to refer to?
I don't know.
I understand he's on a plane, but he can type clearly, so he can tell us which one it is. Is that the one? Is that the verse you're talking about? Be careful to observe only that which I enjoin upon you, neither add to it nor take away from it. Because I can tell you exactly how you add to it and take away from it. Are you sure that's where you want to go, Mr. Rabbi? That's the one. Okay, he wants to go there. That's beautiful. Can you tell us when you come down from your airplane, inshallah safely? Because I want to cook your ass just like I cook your other rabbis. I will destroy you if that's your claim. It's going to be crazy. He's shutting down in a moment. Yeah, I know. You can run away like you always do. But when are you going to be back? Because I would love to have this conversation with you. I want to see what Mr. Rabbi has to say. Don't add to it or remove from it. Like, this is the dumbest thing you can say as a Jew to a Christian. I'm just letting you know. You have borne false, again, he's arguing me, not my claims. You have borne false, which is ad hominem by definition, by the way. You have borne false witness by lying about verses, as you have demonstrated time and time again. You have not demonstrated nothing. You're bearing false witness not only against me, but against yourself, since you have not done that. Now, if that's the case, again, I invite you, the what, the why, and the how. Instead of making a claim, make an argument.
The second census, he says.
The second census has nothing to do with it. I literally explained to you why it cannot be inferred. The number of the Levites is not as relevant as the number of other Israelites, since they don't get an inheritance. Therefore, it doesn't go into the hundreds.
You said it didn't happen, he says.
I said it goes into... No, it doesn't go as... Check the first... Are you retarded? How about you... Okay, can you do it? So that I want you guys to see how retarded these people are. Isabel, can you go check... It was Deuteronomy. Oh, he ran away. Well, beautiful how they run away exactly when they're about to be called out all the time. Can you check the verse that they mentioned for that?
Actually, wait, let me open it on
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter online, or it doesn't matter where you go.
Oh my God, it's true. No, but
right. I want to show you how, like, these guys are the lying sons of Satan. Nothing
but
changed.
stop saying they're lying. They're not lying.
But they are. But
It's
they
just
are.
you guys talking over each other. And this
But
is
they are
very
though. That's no.
Deuteronomy. Which one was it?
No, it's not.
13, right?
It's not that we're talking over each other. It's that they're actually lying, and you can. That's why I give you verses so that you can verify. I don't expect you to just trust me. You shouldn't trust me. But likewise, this is cool. This one responds cock.
Deuteronomy 13.
No, not Deuteronomy. Not Deuteronomy.
Hashem spoke to Moses saying, "Send forth men." You
Oh my
please.
God! Not Deuteronomy. Numbers chapter 26, verse 62 is what he referred to. Can you check?
Numbers what?
Numbers chapter 26, verse 62. That's what he referred to.
Their counts were 23,000, every male from 1 month of age and above, for they did not count themselves among the children of Israel, for an inheritance was not given them among the children of Israel.
Correct. So as you noticed, unlike the others in that chapter, because the Israelites have and the Levites are part of the Israelites, but they have their own census. The reason why there's a census is because that will be divided based on the men in each tribe. That's why. But the Levites don't get land. That's why they have a different census. Now, if you didn't notice, when they mention the numbers of the tribes in this chapter, you can find it goes by the thousands, hundreds, and even tens. However, when it comes to the Levites, it doesn't do that. It only goes by the thousands. Now, the claim is that 250 died. Oh, that's not a claim. That's fact. Actually, you can see it in in chapter 16 and also in this chapter. 250 died, and they're not necessarily the children of Korah. There's Reuben and etc. The children of Korah, how many of them died? Okay. First step to do is to identify it's so easy to know how many of them died actually, because if you can verify how many others died, then you can do the math and find out how many children of Korah died. Regardless, it's not even in the hundreds. So that's why it cannot be accounted for, because it doesn't go in the hundreds or tens for that number. It says what? 23,000, is it? Is that what it says?
Yeah.
23,000. It doesn't say 23,130. It doesn't say something like that. So if 250 died, and most of them are not children of Korah, aka they're not Levites, then it cannot be accounted for in this sense. Do you see how they are lying sons of Satan?
Yeah, well, we need to wait until Meyer is back, because I really can't follow.
You don't need me or him. All you need is to use your brain that God gave you. That's all you need to do, really.
Maybe God didn't give me a very big brain.
Right. Now, the second dumbest thing you can do is to say that, oh, well, does it say in Psalms specifically that Korah, the children were reconciled? I never made that statement to begin with. Again, you're fighting with yourself. Number two is you can deduce things, just like you deduce that Moses converted his wife. Oh, do you see anywhere where it says that? No, you don't. These are things you can deduce. So, again, being disingenuous is that's a Muslim trait. Well done. You're more compatible with Muslims. Beautiful. Fascinating. Respectfully.
No, we're not compatible with Muslims.
Yes, but you go equally as disingenuous.
And there's a reason we prefer the Judeo-Christian unity.
There's nothing called Judeo-Christian, and there is no unity between us and the sons of Satan.
Get over it, man. This is such a weird slander. It's like so fun.
Well, that's the truth. How about you read Torah and Mikra?
So you're so righteous.
Because these are the words of their own prophet.
Randy, are you a righteous one who goes by Christian values?
I'm not the most righteous now.
Oh, good. At least you admit it.
Of course I admit it. I'm cloaked in humility. But I'm not heretical. Now, the prophets made it very clear. Reconcile with your prophets. That's my only point. As for Muslims, we know what these guys are about. We know what kind of prophet they follow. So they are unlike their prophet. They're much better than Muhammad, actually. The Jews are much worse than the prophets, I can tell you that. Hey, maybe they're not as bad as Muhammad, but they're much worse than because the prophets are holy and good, and you just refuse to listen to them. Yeah, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. You exhausted everyone. Oh, it's good. Imagine how much much Moses had to exhaust people to tell them to follow them. He even got them to kill each other.
Don't compare to yourself to Moses, dude.
Of course.
You always do this.
Of course. If you tell the Jews to follow Torah, you're basically taking on the role of Moses. And it was the hardest thing that he ever did. In fact, it killed him. Moses literally wasn't able to see the promised land because of the sins of his people. Do you understand that?
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to get in.
And that's why he called them, you are truly a stiff-necked people. And all the prophets said the same thing. Yeah. Because the hardest thing I ever did in my entire life is to get a Jew to actually open up his Torah. Right.
Anyway. Oh my god.
Anyways, we settled that. If you don't believe in Torah, you're not a Jew. Same with you guys. No, that's fact. I'm sorry.
Hi, I've been listening in. Rabbi, have you gotten your dopamine? Because I just recorded like an hour and 44 minutes of you just screaming like a neurotic, talking about nothing. What a waste of time. Thank you very little. I'll put the link in the chat. We'll call you, don't call us. Great PTR, by the way, Satan.
I love the PTR, but can you send me the link, please?
It's in the chat.
Did he put it?
I don't know. Did you put it in the chat? You said you put it in the chat.
I'm putting it in the chat now. Ahora, por favor.
Okay, well,
Perdón.
then don't say
Aquí.
you put it in the chat before.
Aquí, ahora.
Thank you very much.
How are you, Edmund, my love?
Oh, I'm great. I'm in battle regalia.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means I'm wearing a clown outfit. Honk, honk.
Well, can you end it and then because it's live? Can you end it and then so it's saved and then do it again? Then I suppose
We could do
I was
that.
thinking about you the other day, and I was listening to one of the lectures of what's his name? The drunken guy.
which they're all drunk. Well, which ones?
Yeah, he's a philosopher. He was a former pastor.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, Edmund knows. Edmund listen.
People became a philosopher. My pastor, by definition, is a Protestant, and this guy's fail in philosophy 101.
I'll tell you right now. I was listening to a lecture of Alan Watts.
Alan, oh my god.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I also was listening to another podcast of a guy that talks history through the Bible. It was very interesting too.
You don't want to learn Bible from fucking Alan Watts, I can tell you
No,
that.
this is not Bible for Alan Watts. Alan Watts is also a philosopher. He was a pastor. But then he didn't. He wasn't a pastor anymore. Oh my god.
Yeah, Protestants, they're pretty wild.
I'm thinking that all of this was just a conversation about what brought us here. I think it was a Judeo-Christian.
It's about the communication and how they don't want to reconcile.
I think it was a Judeo-Christian thing that started with Tommy and Meyer and
Nah, it is excommunication.
No, we started it, and then you came in. And then
It is excommunication because you were saying, okay, how is it? Because you were talking about the replacement theory. I'm telling you, there is no replacement.
No, we didn't talk about replacement theory. I know you were the one implying that we were talking about some replacement. I didn't say replacement. That's not.
You said it implicitly in your state. That's why I told
No.
you.
I just said that there was the old covenant, and then Jesus is the new covenant. And so in the old covenant, there was like the chosen people. With Jesus, it was everybody who believed in him, whether they were Jews or they were Gentiles. They were going to be seen as the followers, like they were entering the kingdom of God as long as you accepted Jesus the Messiah. Whoever didn't was ousted. That's all.
That's correct, and that's the problem. That's why I said you make it seem because there was and is God's chosen people. And there's always been a remnant of Israel, which is a minority of Israel, which path of actually studying philosophy. And the people that come on like Clubhouse and say I'm a philosopher, and then they want to go down this rhetoric of the formal logic and stuff like that, they're giving a bad name to what philosophy actually is, and it's existential thinking, right. It's more the semantics and your vocab and how you try to string things together to make things more so sophisticated than it really actually is, right? And when you look at any type of subject or topic, right, you can apply philosophy to it. Basically, philosophy is just looking at life existentially and breaking it down in a rational way to a conclusion that is valid, right? That is basically what it is. And then okay, fuck it. I'm not going to even talk about philosophy anymore because we have dumbasses on the stage. I wanted to bring forward what just happened when Samoa entered the stage and then decide to ask Incan a question. Incan, don't let Samoa pull you in with all the questions. Back and take a look at how Samoa acts. Back and look at how Samoa acts, right? Back and look how Samoa acts, right? All he does is ask questions, right? He never take a position. You ask him a question, he will never take a position, right? He's just here to fuck with you. He's just here to fuck with you and then move on with his life. I think Samoa has a mental issue because he just consistently in his fucking works of just nothing but fucking, I don't know, these plays on what you want to call debate, right? Your outlook, bro, I'm saying this in a sincere way. Something is absolutely wrong with you, bro. You need to chill out and you need to approach it in a way that is more rational because you're not a very good debater. I'll leave it. All right.
I know why I was upset, bro? It's because we had this argument about modal semantics. He obliterated in public, bro. You didn't even ask Nathan about this. And ever since then, bro, he's been making fun of me for being a postman.
Bro, look, you're a postman and you waste all this intellectual power now when you don't even use it properly. It's embarrassing because if you had paid attention in school, you could have gone to university and actually done something in grad school or done something for the world. But instead, you're here picking at people's ankles. It's fucking annoying.
What if I don't want to do those things, though? Like, I'm free to do my own thinking, my own reasoning in my own time. I don't understand why that's like a fault or something.
It's embarrassing because you tried so hard, but yet you didn't try when it matters. So now, you have a bunch of you're not satisfied. You've not satisfied a bunch of prerequisites. Most of them are mathematical literacy. You think you've picked up some logic, but you've never actually computed logical equations, I'm guessing. So, the point is,
by equation, like
you do half of the work, and you show up like you're the shit. And then you make a bunch of, like, elementary mistakes, and it's immediately obvious that it's a waste of time and energy.
Let's talk about the elementary mistakes. Like,
It's way smart because it's.
Logical equation, you're talking about, like, practical calculus or first order logic? I'm pretty familiar
You
with
don't even know the name of what I'm talking about, so it's fine. Don't worry. It doesn't matter. That opportunity, that ship has sailed for you because you've already chosen your career path.
That's why don't you be specific though? Like, it's like we had the same issue.
I have been. And if you don't know, I'm not going to fucking educate you because I don't want to educate you because you're fucking annoying.
You said something like, modal semantics doesn't.
You're annoying. That's why you're not going to learn from me. If you were less annoying, if you actually took the advice of Leon, if you actually tried to listen to Chris when he was speaking, instead of trying to fucking correct him and tell him how he's wrong, you could have understood 20 minutes ago before it actually needed to go through the cycle 50 times. That's what I'm talking about. But, that's going to be a thing that happens for you with maturity. You're going to get mature, and you'll start doing it. Maybe one day. But I don't expect.
So, I'm getting a little job shame, a little education shame, which sometimes fucking appropriate. Not right now though. I don't
It is right now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna die on this. I'll fuck you all.
Me?
Except for the Lord. Wow, that's
Education shaming should be a thing that should be banned. Everybody's been armchair philosopher with half-ass fucking mathematical literacy.
Job shaming when it's A1, when he called the bodega drill master.
No, look, I've never insulted you because you've never acted like an asshole with A-Walk. And I would not insult anyone here unless they deserve it. Okay?
You just said F everybody.
No. Everybody is apparently telling me to stop the education.
It is appropriate to education shame sometimes because maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a me thing. There are many me things. I am quirk. Okay, but when these moms say things like, "I'm a mom, so I'm a doctor. I'm a chef. I'm a chauffeur." No, you're not. You're not a fucking doctor. Shut up. Take your kid to the fucking doctor, and maybe there won't be 800 people with fucking measles right now, bitch. Okay.
So I did have like an offbeat question.
Wait, I'm just. Do you mind if I make this quick statement, Chris? It's about 3 seconds, real quick, right? Did everybody just witness what happened with Kojito? Did somebody find out if he's all right or not? That was weird stuff. I was like, whoa. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's in all fairness, Kojito. That did seem a little unprovoked, though, brother. Just by the way, I don't know. But A-Walk, I want to know, like, when you go on a date, do you like, have an empirical argument? Like, do you talk like that all the time?
Oh my God, that would be so fucking hot. That would be so hot. I would love that shit. I would eat that shit up.
A-Walk said, and I quote, "I hope guava is hot," right? So there seems to be hope and not like, inhaled inside of this.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Some girls are into it.
I'll say something real quick, right? A-Walk in that instance showed us all that he's also a man. He might be an intellectual god in his mind, but he's also a man.
I actually was seeing some chick that's like he's like a philosopher at the University of Ann Arbor. He's like going for a PhD, and we talk about philosophy just like how we do here, and if it's like a normal person, yeah, I tend to be more like affirming with my language, but I still like engage in the kind of reasoning I do now in front of them. I mean, you're gonna have to get used to it because this is who I am, fundamentally or whatever.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, do you go into a meta-analysis when you're ordering a burrito or a quesadilla?
If someone says something interesting, for sure, yeah, why not?
But that's kind of the argument that you were making, Chris, about how you can supplant certain things that we like and desire that have to like focus on, right? That's kind of what you were saying. You're saying, hey, look, it looks like you can fix it.
You have to excuse him. He's only 12. Sometimes you just got to get that belt. You know what I'm saying?
No, the only reason I ask is just because, like, I recognize that some people get online to be their alter ego. I'm one of those people who I'm the same way online as offline. So I was just wondering, because A-Walk does make a lot of, like, meta-analysis type, like, arguments. So I was just wondering.
That's true. So it was actually a Mexican, but...
Yeah, but that kind of seemed like a cheap tactic of, like, creating this idea that there's the right way of being, and that if anybody is like A-Walk, they are wrong. That's crazy.
Yeah, I get what A-Walk's saying. Also, I think that the reason why, like, a lot of these philosophical points and these arguments, like, it's not logical, or this is fallacious, or justified, whatever, I think that it also is there because it's actually respected. People respect it. So there's obviously arguments, and, there's a lot of people, well, me one of them, that when you argue, they don't want to be held to, like, things that we all kind of agree on. That we all we don't have a really good argument against why something is something that's fallacious should still be considered, right? So these are things that are more respected. They're kind of like guidelines and rules.
Right. I mean, but in respect, it is a
might
language.
have a better conversation too.
It is a language, though, right? Like,
the way,
Yeah, but it
like the way he
our language,
presents,
right? In our reasoning.
no, but what I mean is, like the way he presents in the world, that's his language, and people either understand it, they can respect it, they can learn it, or they can just do what Chris did and just piss on it.
Oh, whatever. I just asked a question. I didn't piss on it.
When you're ordering a quesadilla,
I
like to know. Wait, hold on. So you're standing in the line. You're about to order this Mexican eat, and you're gonna say, "Can you please provide to me the epistemic origin of the tortilla with the ingredients analytically?" If that's what you were doing, Chris. Like you were trying to
smart logical language.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like what the hell?
So,
Do you speak Spanish whenever you go to Mexican restaurants, Chris?
So, it's not inciting violence.
No, but do you speak Spanish whenever you go to a Mexican restaurant?
No, I think what he's saying is that, like, you know how there's a specific Spanish Puerto Ricans that people in Spain may think of as a lesser version, like a degraded version of their, like, mother tongue. I think that's what he's saying. He's saying, I'm Io, I own a tech company, I have this, better understanding than you, who often flexes on people who you have the ability to do that to. And I'm telling you, as an elder person, you should possibly curtail that behavior because you're going to meet a match.
Exactly. Thank you. Well said, Sally, and I appreciate that. Because this pipsqueak doesn't fucking get.
Why does he always run away from people like me or Tommy?
I'm not running. I'm here. But I just don't want to talk about you. You don't matter. You don't matter because look, how you said you spoke to your mother, that's fucking disgusting. Okay? So again, I'm not going to respect you for the kind of stupid shit you do in your life that you show here. It's all embarrassing. So that kind of shit, talking down to your mother like that, shame on you and fuck. Yeah! Don't you ever talk to your mama like that? Nigga? Like fucking retarded. What the fuck? How could you do that to your own mother?
I don't understand. Like, what's the issue with me telling my mom she's
bitch ass nigga. By comparison, you're a dipshit. By comparison to what I do every day, you're a dipshit. You're a lightweight. Just know that there's a hierarchy, and people like me tolerate people like you.
No, remember this. Like, I said something like this. I know I was rude to my mom, but then later on I realized that, hey, like, this is not supposed to be, like, it's not supposed to be. And I understood it.
Your mom, A1. She deserves it.
And I would say, I don't think you tolerate people. I think if you really just live like that and think, oh, I tolerate someone, you would be screaming at them like that. If I tolerate, like, my dog's neighbor, like my neighbor's dog, I wouldn't just start screaming at them. I tolerate them. Like I let them be. I feel like you just like have personal issues and you project them here, and it's not relevant.
But I think the reason why Kendo was like Chaos let him go is because with Chaos it was inadvertently way a little bit on IO's side of the equation, and I don't think he meant to do that. So it kind of seemed a little off balance. But
Chaos and I agreed like 20 minutes ago. You can look at
it was in the middle.
My point is that I tripped out when he wouldn't listen to Chris, when he shared the stupid shit that he said to his mother. I was like, you know what? Fuck this little bitch. No, I've had enough of listening to this fucking dipshit purposefully misunderstand and try really hard not to get what people are saying. That's what fucking annoyed me. And you people deserve better. Every time I listen to you, I try really hard to understand you, and I try really hard to make what I say sound as simple as fucking possible. A-Walk does neither of those things.
Yeah, look, if you want to actually demonstrate like your intelligibility or something, why don't we have that argument we had about models?
Not to you, because I don't care.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. Run away, pussy.
Okay, so that's the extent of your reply, and the value of it is self-evident. Thank you, everyone.
You made a bunch of claims about like you misunderstanding stuff. You never demonstrate misunderstanding.
Dude, what did you say about your mom? What did you say to your mom? Fuck you. That's my response.
I told her.
Yeah, and you're a fucking retard compared to me. You're a fucking retard. You know how dumb you sound? Your mother deserves more respect, and that's why I'm flipping out on you. Because fuck you for treating your mother like.
I will say, the worst thing I ever did was the one time my mom had a friend over, and I was like mad. Not about that, but about something else. But I was a teenager, and I went to my room. But I didn't just go to my room. I slammed the door, and I was just being a complete and utter kind. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. I apologized later. Because I'm like, this woman has always been on my side. Never, ever questioned why I was weird. And was just like, yeah, I don't get it, but, if that's what you want to do, I'll be your cheerleader.
Look,
I slammed the door. I slammed the fucking door. Not in her face, but just in her presence. Oh my god. Yeah, later I apologize.
But we're losing AWOC's whole point here because he was countering what
I'm saying he's gonna apologize for one.
No, so just real quick, you can't apologize for being honest when somebody's asking you for your honest opinion. You can't apologize for that. No, hold on. His mom said, do you think that I'm a good reasoner? His mom asked him, do you think I'm a good reasoner? And that's an honest what?
He volunteered that story. It wasn't asked of him explicitly. That's my point. No, he shared it like, hey guys, here's the story about me and my mom.
No, you're hijacking it, Io.
What the fuck is that shit? No. If he wasn't in my presence, I'd slap the shit out.
All right. But there's a difference between him going up to his mother, right? Without her asking anything of him and just saying, you're a fucking retard. That's what you're doing now. Like, that's how you're framing this situation.
No. That's not how I'm framing it. And if that's how it sounds, you're right. That's not how I should be framing it. I'm framing it like his mom asked him, and he told her something so disrespectful, and then he shared it in this room as if like, oh, look, I do this with everybody. So you're just a piece of shit with everybody, guy.
But it's the truth.
Your own mother doesn't.
Do you think it's a bad law or not? Because there's more reasons why I have for it's about here. Let me just put this out there for you. So, being that most women, less than 50% of women, actually bleed their first time having sex, this law makes it such that the person who's being accused of being a liar on their wedding night could most likely be innocent. Right? And actually still be a virgin, right? Could still be intact. Her hymen could still be intact because less than 50% of women bleed on their first time having sex. Therefore, God is either okay with having women who are innocent being killed, or he just doesn't understand human biology. God doesn't understand women's biology. So there's a few reasons why I think it's a bad law, but you might have others, and I'm more than willing to hear you.
You see, when God talks about such women being stoned to death, God was so basic. He didn't go into detail, and that's why we say we have to have that rational.
He didn't go into detail. It says right.
We need to understand because there's something that made that person not to be virgin. For instance, maybe we lose our virginity in so many ways. For example,
right. That's right.
You can be raped. It's not your fault. That's how you lose your virginity. You can be riding a bike.
You can be picking up out of the water. You can
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be
jumping off of a freaking.
Yeah. I'm trying to relate to what you're saying. I know what is already on your mind, so I'm giving you what you want.
I don't think you know what's on my mind. I think you're just panicking.
I'm giving you what you want to hear. So virginity.
Well, please don't. I don't want you to give me what I want to hear.
Okay. So
I want you to be honest with me.
Yeah, I'm going there. So virginity, you can lose it in any way.
Are you getting to the honest part? Okay, go ahead.
So and for God say that a woman that is found that is not a virgin and she claimed to be virgin, I feel it's not fair on that woman's side, and that's what I'm saying. We need to be rational.
That's right. It's a bad law, right?
We have to make decision that's favors everybody. Okay, so in that sense, I would first want to ask this lady why she's claimed to be a virgin, but now she's
cool.
not.
That's cool. Okay. You would do this, but I'm just saying, like, look, let's just stick to the topic. You think it's a bad law, right?
It's not a bad law because sex before marriage is a sin. Okay, that is what God is saying in the Bible.
Are you tracking this? I don't think you're tracking this at this point.
What do you mean tracking it?
Excuse me, you guys are talking about a book.
I'm not lost.
Are you guys talking about a book? I'm sorry, just to break in the conversation here. Are you guys talking about a book?
Yeah, we're talking about a book.
He's talking a Bible verse that he got about virginity and why God is saying that women that are found not virgin on their wedding night shall be stoned to death.
These are words, correct? In a sentence? This is English. I'm listening. This is English you're speaking, madam?
I'm speaking English. You don't understand my accent?
I'm sorry, I have bad hearing. I lost my hearing in a church fight. I was unfortunately preaching the gospel, and somebody from Africa punched me in the side of my ear. I lost all my hearing, actually. I apologize for interrupting, madam. I can't hear that well. I am hearing assisted disabled. I apologize.
I don't know. Can you speak my language? I don't know. It would be good.
Hey, Benji, can you mod your room, please?
Can you try to speak my language too? Maybe that would be great too.
Yeah,
because I'm proud. You should be proud I'm speaking both language. I'm learning English, which is not my language. So he Dutch.
Don't worry about Dutch. Let's stick to the topic, okay?
Okay.
You think it's a good law that God issued there? Is that right?
You saying it's a bad law, right?
Yeah, I think it's a bad law. Okay, I'm gonna cover this again in like pretty.
It's not a bad law. Why is it a bad law? God.
Okay. I gave
God says everything that God is saying is not a bad law.
Do you remember the bad reasons that I gave you in detail? Do you remember? You remember the reasons I said it was bad?
Because she was stoned to death?
Because I don't think a woman who is actually the whore of the city should be having rocks thrown at her head for lying about being a virgin to a dude. And the part that's bad is that it indicates that God is either is okay having innocent women killed, or he just doesn't understand human biology. Right, so already there's a lot of gray in this social policy, right? And so I'm willing to just look at it as a whole and take into consideration all that I mentioned and say, seems like a bad law to me, but you're unwilling to do that for some reason, and I'm just scratching my head wondering why.
What was the hymnal percentage breakage again?
Felt betrayed. He married a virgin. He thought that he married a virgin. And that's how.
This is exactly why I do this, guys. Because of this fucking crazy lunatic bullshit that comes out of these people's faces.
But see, isn't this technically somebody just learning English, and you're actually falling?
Who dropped him? Who dropped that guy?
He dropped himself. He likes to just like throw down one-liners and like move himself to the audience. It's pretty cool. It's actually very gracious of him. He's good at that.
Because, anyway, back to the topic. So I was saying this. That guy felt betrayed, because like me going by to go buy something,
Yeah, just remember, just think carefully as you're speaking, and then try to do like thought experiments where like you're someone else in this situation or you're involved. So like, I want you to really think about what you're saying, because what you're saying so far seems a little dangerous.
What is so dangerous about what I'm saying?
Well, no, go ahead. Continue.
So that's what I'm saying. You also you should be smart, okay? You were given that smartness with you. You were born with that rational thinking, you have it. So for such cases, you should know better. That's what I'm saying. You have to judge well. Be smart. Ask that lady, hey, you presented yourself to me as a virgin, but now you're not a virgin. What could be the reason? Instead of you just rushing or conclude by just stoning her and calling her name, that will be not fair on her side. That's what I'm saying.
Right, it's a bad law, right? It's a bad law.